Malayalam cinema is at its all-time high right now. Creatively, it is considered one of the best industries in our country. People are paying attention to what Malayalam movies are doing, what kind of concepts are going to come out of Malayalam cinema. More and more people are becoming aware of Malayalam movies, they're following Malayalam movies. However, I also believe that quite a few movies are getting some unwarranted attention.
There are movies that were hyped a lot, and when you actually saw the movie, it didn't live up to the expectation or the hype created by audiences or makers.
It seemed quite underwhelming.
My third pick is Joji. It released straight on Amazon in the year 2021, and it stars Fahad Fasil. It's directed by Dileesh Pothan, who directed Fahad Fasil in Thondimuduram Drisashyam and Maheshanda Pradikaram, and it's written by Shyam Pushkar. My issue with Joji is it's a adaptation of Shakespeare's Macbeth, and I don't think it's a sincere adaptation because I didn't feel the sense of urgency which Macbeth has. Also, one big problem with the movie was the sound. Sound design was extremely bad because as a Malayali, I don't have to depend on subtitles when I'm watching something. Throughout the movie, I had to rely on the subtitle to understand what they are saying. I think they were trying to sing sound, it probably didn't work. This is my assumption. Also, many people say that this is Fahad's best, one of the Fahad's best works. I'm like, no, he's done some far better work. It just felt very predictable. Like, I know how Macbeth ends. Like, if you want to see a good Macbeth adaptation, watch Maqbool by Vishal Bharadwaj. But this felt so meh.
My next pick, 2024, great year for Malayalam, and the movie which set a good ending to 2024 was Marco.
I kind of liked it, but yeah.
This movie was like one of the most goriest, bloodiest action movies in India. Now, if I remember correctly, just few months before that is when Kill came out, right? So people who saw it were saying like, no, Marco is like miles ahead of Kill in terms of blood and gore and all that. So I saw it and I was like, you know what? True. In terms of blood and gore, yes, Marco is definitely, I would say, much ahead than Kill. But what Marco isn't ahead of Kill is the action.
Also, story.
You're trying to show a very high intense action movie. I don't know why they chose to do the whole shaky cam thing. You have like such a physically fit actor like Unni Mukundan, but it felt like there was no amount of like rehearsal done because the action, whenever the camera is steady and you can pay attention, the action was just regular. Kill was showing properly, like how they worked out the action sequences and how they're doing it, and everything was there to see. With Marco, it was like camera ഇങ്ങനെ ആടുന്നു പിന്നെ ഒരു ബക്കറ്റ് ലോഡ് കെച്ചപ്പും. I don't know, I felt like they really underutilized the physicality of Unni Mukundan, or I don't know if they didn't get the time to rehearse it.
Also, because it was Unni Mukundan, and Hindi media also picked up this movie, and they called the lead actor of the movie superstar of Malayalam cinema.
See, അതൊക്കെ വേറെ തന്നെ വിഷയങ്ങളാണ്. ഓക്കെ, അത് നമുക്ക് എനിക്കിപ്പോൾ അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് ഇപ്പൊ ഒന്നും പറയാനില്ല.
Also, there's one action scene which is straight away copied from a Thai action movie of that fight scene from down to up in a building.
Raid.
And during the promotional interview, they actually said, "Oh, we didn't rehearse." I'm like, how is that possible?
അല്ല, അത് ചിലപ്പോൾ ശരിയായിരിക്കും, അത് കാണാനുണ്ട്, റിഹേഴ്സ് ചെയ്യാത്തതിന്റെ പ്രശ്നം കാണുന്നുണ്ട് അവിടെ. വൺ അതർ തിങ് ഇസ്, ഇത് എൻ്റെ ഒരു ഫ്രണ്ട് എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് പറഞ്ഞൊരു പ്ലോട്ട് ഹോൾ ആണ്. ഐ എം ഷുവർ ഐ നോ. സിദ്ദീഖ് is supposed to be like the top gangster guy. വില്ലന്മാര് മൂപ്പര് വീട്ടിൽ വരെയാണ്, കൂടെ ഒരൊറ്റ പ്രൊട്ടക്ഷൻ ഗാർഡും ഇല്ല, മൂപ്പര് ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് വിത്ത് ഫാമിലി, ദാറ്റ്സ് ഇറ്റ്. ഏത് ലോകത്ത് ഏത് ഗാങ്സ്റ്റർ ഫങ്ഷൻസ് ലൈക്ക് ദാറ്റ്, ലൈക്ക് നോ സോർട്ട് ഓഫ് സെക്യൂരിറ്റീസ് അറൗണ്ട് ഹിം. ഇതെന്താ വെള്ളരിക്കപ്പെട്ടനോ?
So, my next movie, it created a lot of buzz. This movie is 2021. This was also straight to Amazon release, called Malik. Malik is a gangster drama set in Trivandrum's coastal town of Ramadapalli. And whatever I understood the history of that town in Trivandrum, it has a lot of political uproar going on for many years. So basically, the story was around that. Fahad Fasil character is a gangster of that area. The problem with the movie was a very botched up screenplay, because the movie was going forward and back. And because of this botched up screenplay, I didn't understand the movie at all. Yes, it had like a good direction. The movie had good direction, especially there's a one long take scene in the beginning of the movie. But otherwise, the overall movie felt very disjointed. Especially the end also did not make sense at all. Like the whole point of the movie, see, any gangster drama starts with the there has to be like a reason why this certain person became a gangster, and then what happens when he becomes a gangster, and then what happens when finally the law catches up to him. But because of the push and pull back and forth, the whole movie felt like a very disjointed, very it didn't make sense at all. The entire movie, I still don't get it why that movie was critically acclaimed. I think because it was released during a time when everybody had suddenly discovered Malayalam cinema is, amazing, and they had discovered Fahad Fasil. So whatever Fahad Fasil put out, everything was considered like, oh, he has a Midas touch, which I agree to some extent. I mean, Fahad Fasil is a wonderful actor, but in this movie, it was not his acting that pulled the movie down. It was just the technicality of the movie. Also, again, the problem that I had with Joji, which is a sound, I should not be depending on, as a Malayali, I'm not supposed to be depending on subtitles. And Malik did not work for me at all. I don't get the hype around it. I don't. Fahad has done far better work.
This movie came out in 2019. It set so many records. I guess you could say this movie opened up much more possibilities for Malayalam cinema. But when I saw the movie, it was just average. The movie I'm talking about is Lucifer. Sometimes I question like some of the movies which I don't like, but a lot of people like. So I'm like, is it because I'm inadequate to understand something? But for me, Lucifer is like how you mentioned Amal Neerad is just all like style and not much of substances in there. That's kind of how I felt with Lucifer. It's just മോഹൻലാലിന്റെ സ്ലോ മോഷൻ ഷോട്ട്, മോഹൻലാലിന്റെ കണ്ണിന്റെ ഷോട്ട്, ഇതിങ്ങനെ മാറി 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 മാറി. ആൻഡ് ഐ ഡോണ്ട് തിങ്ക് മോഹൻലാൽ is one of the best people to pull off a stoic mass character.
Because Mohanlal is all about expression.
Yeah, he's definitely not someone who is good with few words. That I didn't enjoy much. I don't know. I didn't get the hype of the movie.
The discussions on the politics of the movie, I'm like, what politics?
No, it was very generic. It tried to be unnecessarily dense for some reason. I think they were trying to create a bit of gravitas to that whole politics, and what does this mean, and what did he mean when he said this, and what does this shot mean, and that whole 666 number plate, and then the inverted cross, and it's like,
Lot of symbolism.
look, decoding movies, figuring out the Easter eggs in movies, I get that. Yeah, I don't mind, but for me, maybe have like a good enough story, so figuring out these things, it'll be a little more satisfying experience. So I don't know, it didn't make sense for me. I don't know how this movie then went on, became like huge success.
It's not. I remember when the movie released, and there was so much discussions on Facebook and Instagram about, oh, what does this mean, what does that mean, what a political drama, Prithviraj Sukumaran going out and making a full blown political drama. I'm like, it's basic as hell.
It seemed very superficial.
My next movie is a cult favorite, but it's not my favorite. I'm talking about 2017's Mayaanadhi. The problem with the movie is it is not as emotional as people make it to be.
ഞാൻ എന്തെങ്കിലും പണിയെടുത്ത് മര്യാദയ്ക്ക് ഇവിടെ ജീവിച്ചു പോയി തരൂ മാതാ.
It is not as deeply effective as people make it to be. It was very like how I talked about Malik. This movie also felt very disjointed. The only redeeming factor of the movie was Rex Vigen's music. And there's a lovemaking scene, between Aishwarya Lakshmi and Tobino Thomas, which is beautifully shot, like very aesthetically shot, something we have not seen in Malayalam movies at all. There's this one scene in the movie which I still don't get it. I remember watching this movie in the theater, and there is a scene where Saubin Sayer walks in and he literally slaps Aishwarya Lakshmi's, roommate, who's a movie star in Malayalam movies, over some issue. And I kid you not, people in the theater thought this was something funny and they started clapping and laughing. And I was just looking around, I'm like, how is this funny? Why are you clapping? Like, it was very obvious in the movie that Saubin Sayer's character is this toxic brother, who controls his sister, how she's supposed to conduct herself, during the shoot of the movie, after the shoot of the movie, like being completely hypocritical about it. And then he's literally shown as a toxic brother, and he comes and whacks his sister, and somehow that is considered funny. I don't know if the scene was not clear enough, or is it just people didn't get it at that point. But the movie overall was all over the place. I still don't get it. How is that movie considered one of the best romantic movies? Which movie I still feel is very good when it comes to the melancholic romantic drama is Unnamed Rasulum. But in this movie, that hype was getting created in the movie, but somehow by the end of it, it just felt meh. It's still a mystery to me why people consider Mayaanadhi a cult.
നമ്മൾ ഈ ഒരുമിച്ച് നടക്കുന്നത് തന്നെ ഉള്ളുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ ഒരുപാട് അകലത്തിലാന്നുള്ള കോൺഫിഡൻസ് എനിക്കുള്ളതാണ്.